Hey folks, Dave here, Snake River Fly. Middle of winter time, we're going to do another pattern that I like fishing in the bigger rivers. It's called the Money Bunny. Works very well in the middle of winter, well into spring. One of my sleeper patterns. And pretty simple pattern. We will talk about what we're going to use here real quick. I'm using a size 4, 3 or 4x long streamer hook. I've got a large tungsten cone head on here. I prefer silver. We're going to use a Magnum White Rabbit Strip, and then we're going to use some dubbing brushes that are created in-house here at Snake River Fly by Brandon, with crinkles on fiber in it. And then the thread I'm going to use is Danville's 210 denier. Pretty quick fly, usually about a 5-minute bug. If you want to add some extra weight to it before you put the lead, or before you put the tying thread on there, you can. I'm using 025 lead wire. I really like this pattern in late winter and well into spring as a searching pattern to see if there's fish there. Usually I'll get a few hits and a few follows on this fly, and that lets me know if they'll take streamers or not. It's just a white basic streamer pattern that represents most minnow patterns that you might have in your system. So we'll put some lead wire there and get our thread started. Push that up in here. Cut out the excess. Really a two-step fly. The rabbit strip, white rabbit strip. I'm going to take one that should fit on here, and I'm going to open up a section of the rabbit fibers there, create a tie-in spot. I want to be careful not to pull out any fibers. So I'll bring that thread around, and as I do that, I want to make sure that I push down on the rabbit strip, getting it to wrap around the hook rather than letting the thread pull your rabbit strip hide up. Put a few basic wraps on there, get it locked into place. Couple more wraps. That looks good. And I'm tying that in just above the barb of my hook. Then I'm going to open up that rabbit strip by lifting it up. Put a few more thread wraps down where we're going to tie in our dubbing brush. Usually tie in about 1/4 of an inch of that dubbing brush up to a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to advance my thread all the way up to the cone. I might even run a little bead of thread there just to kind of support that wire pushing on the cone. Then we'll take our dubbing brush, and as we wrap it, we're going to take all those crinkles on fibers and pull them back to one side. You kind of just lay that rabbit strip back, keep it out of the way. Just keep advancing. Usually out of one dubbing brush I get, anywhere from 3 to 4 flies. If you got a rotary vise, you could even kind of work it through like that, and you'll start to pull those individual fibers back. The other thing I want to do before I fold down that rabbit strip is run my fingers down and kind of even out those fibers, pushing them down so they don't get caught under the rabbit. And then I'll tie off that dubbing brush, pull those fibers back, keep them free there. Right up on the cone. Cut out that excess dubbing brush and take and use your finger to push down the little metal wire there so it doesn't rupture your thread. Do a little more of a splitting process there, just pushing all those fibers down and back. And then we'll fold down our rabbit strip. It's sticking out over the cone a little more than I want, so I'm going to actually open up some of those fibers just above the tie-in spot. Really secure that rabbit strip well there. And I'll lift that up, do a couple wraps in front of it before I trim it out. Come in and do a nice flat cut like that. Then you get your rabbit strip that sticks out above the cone a little bit. I'll actually use my nail and shove the rest of that hide down into the cone. Pull back some of the fibers, do a few thread wraps. You've got a little bit of a collar space there, and I typically will fill that in with a little bit of dubbing. This is a pearl, just a small pearl dubbing, or you can use some of the fibers off the rest of your dubbing brush. I'm going to spin that in right behind the cone just to cover up the work. Do a whip finish. Very durable fly. These flies very rarely ever come apart. Catch a lot of fish. And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to pull those fibers back, and I'll probably even take it out of the vise. Pull all of those fibers back. There's quite a bit of length to some of them, so I may even take and trim that down. Create the taper in the fly that you want. These dubbing brushes and crinkles on fibers, when they're stacked next to each other, create a realistic scaly effect. Swims well in the water, and that's the basic profile. Just a soft, good minnow pattern. Fish will suck them in pretty readily. That's the Money Bunny. Thanks for watching. Happy fishing this winter. You can find this video and others on Snake River Fly's website and on our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.